So we spent the week there, and it was just good for me and my wife to get time to see each other, to see where each other were, and to engage each other away from the noise of South Florida. And the reason we're telling you this is not to just have a vacation recap. It's to help encourage you to find time to get away with your spouse. And maybe that can't be a week, but maybe that could be a weekend. Maybe that could be an overnight trip. Maybe you can do something to where you guys get face-to-face time together to engage each other's heart with where you guys are. So that's kind of why we're sharing this. We want to encourage you to take advantage of times like this. Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Rod.
And this is Kai.
And welcome to Married in the Middle. We have been married for 18 years. We have 4 amazing kids and a dog named Appa.
This podcast is about helping marriages flourish through the challenges of the middle years.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Rod.
And I'm Kai.
And welcome back to
Married in the Middle.
Season 2.
Season 2, y'all.
Man,
we are so happy to be here.
What's up? We missed y'all like crazy. Hope y'all missed us. We are back at it again. Shout out to Danny Williams that is producing this on 4K. Y'all got to like and share and subscribe to that. It's on 4K.
Danny
y'all.
Williams.
But yeah, this is season 2, and we're coming back off of break. I hope you guys enjoyed season 1. Just looking back on that, we put a lot of work into season 1, and we did a lot of really, really good episodes.
Yeah.
And the first thing I want to do is encourage y'all to go back and watch. There are a lot of videos on YouTube or on your podcast that you listen to. We'd love for you to go back. What are some of those episodes that we did?
We did a lot, but before we do that, have you guys noticed anything different? There's something different. All right, we're being real cringy. So we have changed our background. We decided that our household is such a hot, heated mess. With all the noise and interruptions, we are trying something different.
No Appa this season, y'all.
No
dog barking in the background.
She's okay, even though sometimes I just want to strangle her.
Yeah.
She's okay, but she's a little loud and she likes to be disruptive. So we're trying something new. We're actually at our church's office, which is like a co-work space. Yeah. So that's where we are. That's why the new background. I hope y'all like it. Awesome. But yeah, season 1 was great. We talked about a lot of various different topics. I think we started off with an introduction about who we were. If you want to know a little bit more about us, you can go back and watch that. We did Dear Husband and Dear Wife, which is like a 2-part. That was really good. Yeah. Dear Husband or Dear Wife was talking to wives, and it was kind of like the man's perspective of what men struggle with, what men deal with, and what they want their wives to know, but coming from your mouth. So he didn't have to say it because you said it for them. And then the same thing for Dear Husband, kind of coming from me about what women would want their husbands to know. And of course, it's all in a general sense. Everybody has their specifics in their own marriage, but kind of in a general sense, what each person would want the other person to know.
Sure.
So that was really cool.
Yeah, and then we did dealing with trauma in marriage, and we did that with my brother Mark Involmi that has recently released a book called Trauma Stories. I want to encourage you all to go pick that up. And man, he really shed light on how traumatic events we've been through in our past, in our family of origin, comes to bear in how we treat one another as husband and wife. Yeah. And so that was a really, really good episode. Yeah, that was great. I would encourage you to go back and listen to that. Then we did Doors of Separation or Doors of Divide. And that's basically when we subconsciously or consciously kind of choose different routes to relieve ourselves or to bring ourselves peace, but they are usually doors that divide us from our spouse. So maybe that's working harder, extra hours at work that we don't necessarily need, but we use as an excuse to avoid the trouble that we're dealing with at home, or whether it's being super involved with stuff with the kids, or
pornography,
escapism,
fantasy, all these different things, these doors that we choose at times to avoid kind of dealing with the hard stuff in marriage. So that was a really good one. I would encourage you guys to go back and listen to that one.
And then lastly, we did Sex is on My Mind. Getting it right where it needs to be. Like, is this whole thing working? How are we engaging with each other physically? Sex matters. It's a temperature gauge of the marriage. And so we did a whole series on that. We got a lot of likes on that too, so I want to encourage you to go back.
Yeah, and he actually did a dance. If you look,
I ain't gonna do it now, though.
So you could see that dance.
Yeah,
I would encourage you to go back and look. It was pretty impressive.
I ain't gonna do it now, though.
He brought it all the way back from the 90s. I wasn't expecting it, but it was good though.
So man, y'all go back, like, subscribe, share. Man, as we engage with people, sometimes we're sharing these episodes and ask them to watch it and get their perspective of it. So I want to encourage you to do that. Share this with family members, friends. Man, let's get this content out. Our goal is that you have a marriage that's so healthy it leads to a legacy of marriage that you're encouraging throughout your life, to the point where your children's children speak of how well you and your spouse love each other and care for each other and serve each other. So that's our goal. And so today, we just wanted to share a little bit about what our summer was like and bring you guys up to speed on that. So we just wanted to share a little bit of that. Life comes at us fast.
Yeah.
And we made a really intentional choice. It's not that we ran out of content. It's not
there's like always more content when it comes to marriage.
And so it was just that life was coming at us fast. And one of the things we do in our church, we encourage our church members to do this, that when the summer comes, take a break, relax, unplug. If you can vacation. Stuff is never going to slow down. We can think, the next season will slow down, then we can do this. That season ain't coming. You got to steward the time God's giving you well and take breaks as needed. Our ministry is growing. Our kids are growing. It seems like our time is shrinking.
Yeah.
So we made the intentional choice to stop for a second and to pause Married in the Middle and a host of other things, as well as stuff at our church and just how long we were working and stuff like that. We wanted to slow down and take a break, and that's so critical in marriage.
Yeah, it was important for us to take some time away. I mean, our oldest is 16 in the 11th grade. And we are realizing that, man, we have this year and next year. I mean, we don't know for sure if she's leaving far away, but technically that's all we have left with her. And it seems like the older she gets, it's like she makes the other kids older too. Yeah. So even though Grace is 5, she seems like an older 5 than what I can remember with the others. But yeah, just taking that time to cherish with our kids, and those are precious moments that we know that we won't necessarily get back. So that's important for us, for our family, and what we encourage for others.
And no, it's good. I mean, I just want to say, if there are ministry leaders watching, if there are church planters, pastors, man, take some time to pause to make sure, evidenced by your schedule, that your family comes over the ministry, comes over the church, comes over the police department, comes over the law firm, comes over the nonprofit, the business that you run. Your family deserves to be priority, and how do you demonstrate that in your calendar? So that's what we did. And another thing that was growing was Married in the Middle. Some really cool things have happened.
Really excited.
Yeah, we got some invitations. Folks calling would like for us to do marriage retreats. That was new for us.
Yeah.
And exciting how God is just opening those doors. We got invited to speak at our local radio station, and so
89.3 Moody Radio.
Moody Radio. Shout out to Moody Radio.
Maybe we can link that. We're not fancy enough to do that.
But no,
Danny Williams.
Yeah, we will.
Link those episodes.
And then we just had some couples come and say, "Hey, could you meet with me and my wife for some coaching sessions, some coaching sessions?" So that's been real cool. And then the big news is we're going to Cancun, Mexico with our church planting network, Acts 29.
Cancun,
and so we're going to be leading a marriage session at that conference. And so shout out to all of you middlers, you sharing this, you subscribing, you supporting. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. And on top of that, I think people have just been blessed by what they hear, and we don't consider ourselves super gurus. We're just kind of sharing our experiences, and people have been blessed. We our neighbor
that's right.
Came one day and randomly said, "Hey, I love the episode," and it was like, "Oh, okay," because I don't think we told him about it.
No, we didn't.
But yeah, we've been having a lot of interactions like that, like people just reaching out or people kind of stopping us and saying, that they enjoy the sessions, which is encouraging for us because, we're new at this. And it's good stuff.
Yeah. So we took some trips this summer. Again, we want to encourage people to do that. You want to tell us a little bit about the trips we took?
I feel like I was everywhere this summer.
Yeah.
But we normally do something with our kids.
Yeah.
And then you and I do something.
Yeah.
So we went with our kids to North Carolina, and Pisgah Forest, North Carolina. I feel like I need to say it with a country accent.
Can you say it again?
Pisgah Forest. Pisgah. Anyway, that's how the locals say it. So, but we had a good time. It was near Asheville. We got to kind of go walk around downtown Asheville. We got to go back to some of the waterfalls that we went to a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And we love North Carolina. If you live in North Carolina, God bless your heart. It's beautiful up there. No, we can't move.
I'm sorry. I was just thinking about it. And then after that, me and her took a trip to Georgia. I don't even know the name of the city. It was in the woods.
We were in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, this is a retreat center for pastors, and they told us, come up, we'll love to host you. And I was like, you pay, I'll pray, and we'll make it happen. And so we spent the week there, and it was just good for me and my wife to get time to see each other, to see where each other were. And to engage each other away from the noise of South Florida. And the reason we're telling you this is not to just have a vacation recap. It's to help encourage you to find time to get away with your spouse. And maybe that can't be a week, but maybe that could be a weekend. Maybe that could be an overnight trip. Maybe you can do something to where you guys get face-to-face time together to engage each other's heart with where you guys are. So that's kind of why we're sharing this. We want to encourage you to take advantage of times like this.
I don't think any of them were super fancy trips.
No, not at all. 100%.
Cancun is going to be fancy though,
y'all.
Be
a little
but they weren't fancy. It was more about the principle of us getting away to unplug and be with our kids, and they had a great time, and just some time to kind of just sit at the table and spend 2 hours at the table for breakfast. It was just really good to unplug and get away.
Good stuff.
So
Good stuff. So was it all just hunky-dory, pixie dust? Were we floating through the air? Was it just all perfect?
Dancing in the lilies.
This is married in the middle, y'all.
Right.
It's
hard, y'all.
The messiness of marriage. And I wish I can say, because we chose to do Married in the Middle, God would part us from all conflict, that he would shield us from all spiritual attack. That is not the case. We had some challenges.
We've had some challenges. I think I think it's just we're in a season of transition for different reasons. All of our kids are officially in school now. Our high schooler is getting towards that end goal, and just some other responsibilities that I now have. It's just been, I think, when you have so much on the plate, it just leaves little holes in the marriage that I think the enemy can easily kind of slip in and start to divide. And even with us being intentional with those times away, I've found that it's been really challenging for us to kind of just see eye to eye and be on one accord. And so we've had to be like super intentional about 100%. Pausing, not just on the vacations, but even here at home, to just pause and be like, okay, where are we? And if we're in a tight spot, all right, how exactly, let's trace our steps. How did we get here?
Yeah.
And just, I think that people think, well, they're leading this marriage podcast, but it doesn't absolve us of conflict ourselves. And, if anything, it can be harder because now we spitting out all these nuggets and, we really have to live by that ourselves, and that 100%. Can be challenged. So we in the pot with y'all. We just we're in it with you.
Yeah.
And marriage is beautiful, but it's messy and it can be challenging. And we've been, I don't know, it just seems like this is a season where we have to be discerning and cautious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think people can romanticize vacations or getaways. And if you see that on Instagram, you see them sitting in the affinity pool that lends itself to the Atlantic Ocean or the Pacific Ocean. And, they have this beautiful scenery. Settings does not mean that things are going well.
Yeah.
Right. So I know our culture lends itself to idolize leisure. And that's just not the case. That's just not the case. It takes work for us to keep striving to be one together.
Yeah, and you may find that you need some help with that, and that's okay. We actually solicited some help ourselves, and just inviting a professional in. Yeah. And in this season, really what he's doing with us is he's going back and going over our stories. And when I say our stories, I'm talking about, the environments that we come from, that we were raised in, and how that impacts our lives, how that kind of paints our perspective and our worldview, and how we view our spouse. And that's just been so rich. And it's been hard, but it's been really good.
And it's helped us understand each other's story more significantly, and it helped connect the dots. And so this may be why she responds this way when this happens, and it just gives you a better understanding, a better appreciation, and a better source of empathy and grace as you engage with that person.
Yeah.
And so that's been incredibly
And I
rich.
think it's not like we didn't know these things about each other, but
we've been together for 20 years.
20
Next
years.
June will be 20 years.
we dated for 4, so it's like 24 years. Oh my gosh. And so it's like these things, but sometimes it's having someone else to be able to point out some things that maybe, when you're in the battle, when you're in the flow of life, you can't always peek your head up to really see the full picture.
Yeah.
Or even to just see little subtle things that can kind of just enlighten you and help you to see things in a different way. Yeah. And that's been really, that's what Married in the Middle is. If you're watching or listening to this podcast, you're allowing us you're inviting us into your marriage to speak some truth, to drop some nuggets, to, share some experiences and words of wisdom.
But that's all birthed out of the struggle of being married in the middle.
Yeah.
I was just talking to a couple recently, and I'm saying, let's not miss the opportunity of what this disagreement can lead to. It can lead to a better understanding of each other, better ways in which you can communicate. It's some beautiful things that can come out of that. And so I think that's vitally important. Another thing I was thinking about when you were talking is the more complicated your life is, the faster you should be ready to get the help that you need.
Yeah.
Some of you all are in blended families, and so it's not just two stories. It's two stories and the past relationship that has dissolved, and now we're in this new relationship. And you're bringing all of that baggage to the new relationship. Man, you better be ready to get the help that you need to allow somebody to speak into that relationship. The power of a third voice is huge. And I know we could be saved, filled with the Holy Spirit, told our Bible, and still need a third voice. Help, Lord Jesus, to talk to us and meet us where we are. That's critically important. And so I think we share this with you to encourage you, that wherever you are, no matter how long you've been together, we should be past this, but you're not. And so how do you get the help you need? It's critical.
Yeah, because life it's really about how are we adjusting to the transitions, like, where we are, where we were, even just a year ago is different for where we are right now. And it's like, how are we navigating some of those changes? Maybe it impacts me in a different way as we get older. Maybe something affects me, in a stronger way than it did before. How are we adjusting to that? And I think some of those things can be eye-opening, just even learning or having a fresh view of you and us of one another, like seeing that for me, I think just seeing that you're not Superman, and I think maybe, obviously I know that you're not made of steel. But I think you've opened up another layer of yourself to me in this past season, or the season that we're in right now, where I've been able to kind of see more of you saying, I'm taking this cape off, even for you. Which I think it's good for me to see. I think your vulnerability, in a deeper way. We've experienced this, but it's a different season now, and it affects you differently, and that's just been good for me to see, even to know how to pray and how to respond, or to ask God for help on how I should respond or how I should help. I
heard a preacher's preaching. It was talking about riding motorcycles with his wife or his significant other. And he said, man, the challenges of riding a bike with your wife is not in the straightaways. He said, when you're in the straightaways, you're fine. You both are sitting and relaxing and it's fine. He says, it's when we get on the turns that it's important that we both turn together as they're turning the bike. And man, I can see the longer we've been married, for couples who don't get help, for couples who don't know how to communicate hard things, in the turn, they get lost. And they said, this is too much, this is too hard, let's start over. They lose each other in the turns. And I think one of the things that's been helpful for us this summer, as you talk about I'm not Superman, is also understanding that you have your own limitations. And that I can't expect the same things out of you that I expected last year or 2 or 3 years ago. And so how are we considering and then reconsidering not who this person was, who this person is, and who are you today and what do you need today, because it's not the same. We are evolving creatures. And I think that's the big takeaway. Even as we had our trip to Georgia, maybe the reason why we're not remembering how beautiful the trip was is we had some hard conversations. About just defining, maybe redefining, what do I need in this season? And just allowing each other the space to.
And giving each other grace for that, because, I mean, we've always run hard. Like, we've always done a lot. And I feel like I'm slowing down a bit, even though we still have a lot. But in the adding of more, I haven't been able to adjust the same way, maybe as before. Whereas you can run 175 miles an hour.
125.
175 miles an hour. But yeah, it's just, I think us being able to see where we are and that it's somewhere new and that's okay. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with the marriage. It just means we need to recalibrate. That person isn't crazy. She's not losing it. It's just you're in a different place. Maybe you need to recalibrate and see, all right, where exactly are we? What do we need from each other? What do I need from you? What do I not need from you? In this season.
No, that's so good. And so, man, that's our encouragement to you. How do you recalibrate your relationship? What do you need? Have you vocalized to your spouse what you need? Are you saying, well, I would tell him, but if I tell him, he ain't gonna do nothing, but we ain't. How do you communicate what you need, what your wife need, what your spouse need. How do you help them recalibrate where they are?
And not assume that they should know, because they can't feel what you're feeling. Yeah. They don't know what's in your mind, and they don't know how you're processing. And so the only way that they can know is if you, if you're courageous enough to tell them. Tell them where you are, and just making time for that. This takes time. Yeah. This may not all be accomplished in, one date night or, in one evening's pillow talk. This may take some time, and it may take you scratching the calendar and being like, okay, what do we need to reset? Yeah. But being intentional about finding the time to do that, to dig into one another's hearts is important.
So, man, we're so thankful for you. We can keep going, but we're going to put a pin in it here. And again, we just want to encourage you, man, to check in on where your spouse is and give them permission to share where they are without judgment or condemnation.
Yeah.
If you say, well, my husband always been blank, or my wife, she's her mother was like this and she like this. Then
her mama, her grandmama.
you are locking them in to a box that they probably have already evolved out of. They just don't know how to tell you. And so I want to encourage you to share where you fully are, and so they can fall in love with that person all over again. And so, man, like, subscribe, share, send this to all your family, man.
Post, repost,
and get the word out. We'll be back with our next episode. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.
Bye.